Same memorandum that was, in fact, the same memorandum that was, yes, same memorandum that was in fact handed at the Constitutional Court at Constitutional Hill to our Chief Justice, and a director received it. So the contents is very similar. The Minister of Justice has already received something similar, inclusive of the Public Protector, and we've even shared with the Human Rights Commission. They understand what is happening. Now, this document actually emanates from the Independent Magistrates Association, the Independent Lobby Group, JOASA, the Judicial Officers Association of South Africa, and even our colleagues in the Regional Court Armsa, they are supportive of us. And further to that, our traditional leadership and our Koen San, our leadership, Ikloza, they have all engaged with us in support. In fact, they've been working with us in the different provinces, from KwaZulu-Natal to Gauteng. We are here now, and we expect to go to the union buildings at least by next week. We intend to go to the IRC, the Independent Remuneration Commission. And remember, their offices are also based at the presidency. And unfortunately, that's not the best state of affairs when it comes to independence. How can there be independence for the judiciary if you are based in the presidency and the executive arm of government is literally at your doorstep? So those are problems that we are currently having. And you need to also be aware that today the IRC met with the Select Committee of Security and Justice. And in that committee and in that meeting, unfortunately, the newly appointed chairperson of the IRC, our JP Karelsa, Zinat Karelsa, unfortunately was not available. That would have been our first meeting with her, but she was not there. The deputy chairperson, Professor Chi. And we've engaged with Professor Chi before. And he did the presentation on behalf of the IRC. And that presentation was literally a regurgitation of what generally is said. And that cannot be. And that's what happened. And the major review that we've already submitted that ended up with our president, remember that's almost a year ago. So those figures are actually stale and unlikely that they would have been refreshed. Because if it's refreshed, those figures must improve. So that is one of the difficulties. And there is this question about government employees' pension fund. Remember, our lower court judges, they are not civil servants. They cannot belong to the government employees' pension fund. Remember, judges get salary for life. They don't pay towards the pension fund. Yet we contribute towards the pension fund, and we belong to the GEPF, Government Employees Pension Fund, and that cannot be. We need to be removed, we need a separate vehicle, and we need to have something called salary for life. Have you heard of salary for life? A judge of the High Court does not pay towards a pension but gets salary for life without having contributed towards that. But magistrates, after 15 years of service, a judge gets 2 years ex gratia salary, tax-free. How can that be? A magistrate gets nothing. A magistrate gets to sell his own leave. You sell 10 days after 20 years. You sell 20 days after 30 years. But it's your own leave. That means you cannot go on leave because you need the money. So those are the bread and butter issues, let alone security. Lower court judges get no security. You don't get personal security. You don't get security in the courts. Well, what security do we get except for security of the building? You get security officers looking after the building, people coming in and out, but the magistrates are not protected. So those are bread and butter issues. Remember the cost of living adjustment? Every year, generally, people get an increase. Magistrates don't get it. Sometimes they get 0%. And when they do get it, they get it 1 year late without interest. How can that be? And it's always below inflation. It's quite easily 3%, 2%, 2.5%, not 7%, 8% to keep up. That is why our colleagues, and we don't fight with our colleagues in the prosecution, they are earning much more than us. They're much junior to us. Now you must ask yourself, how is it that we've ended up in this predicament How is it that we've ended up in this spot? Someone is to blame. Who are the role players in charge of us? The IRC today was speaking about in Parliament virtually as to our employer. We need to talk to our employer. But he did not identify who our employer is, because we don't have an employer. The Magistrates Commission is mostly there to prosecute us for misconduct, coming late to work, for trivial issues. But who's going to prosecute the Magistrates Commission? Do we need the Magistrates Commission? There should just be a Judicial Service Commission.
Amen.
Just like how we need to align. We need to align our rules, we need to align our laws, and we need to align our courts. Now, colleagues, is there anything specific that I need to highlight? We've dealt with the issue of pensions, COLA, major review. Remember, the major review is outstanding for the last 17 years. There's no way we're going to wait even a year. If we have to wait at best maybe a few days, it needs to be fast-tracked. Our president, wherever he might be, needs to get documents scanned, he needs to sign it off, send it to Parliament, the National Council of Provinces, Parliament itself, they need to sign off so that we can move forward.